Senator Kavanagh?
Thank you, Madam Chair, for hearing the bill. Members, this bill attempts to balance the natural, instinctive, historic sense of modesty that human beings have around issues of sex, something which goes back to Adam and Eve hiding behind the bush in the Garden of Eden, to the present day. And it does this by dealing with restrooms, locker rooms, showers, and we're talking K-12 schools now. So locker rooms, bathrooms, showers, and hotel rooms or other rooms for overnight sleeping and overnight trips. Now, if the facility is a single user facility, then this bill has no application because there's only one person at a time, so it doesn't deal with that. But if it's a multi-use facility, then it has to be restricted to people of the same biological sex at birth. However, since we do need to accommodate those who will not or cannot abide by that stricture, schools must also make reasonable accommodations for those who can't by either providing them with single-user facilities or by blocking off certain times for the other facilities where it would be used for somebody who did not want to do the alignment with biological sex. And as staff said, there is a civil cause of action for those if a school disobeys that and somebody winds up in a situation where they are in a facility with somebody of a different biological sex. That's it.
Thank you. And I just want to remind everybody, we have been very civil, even though we have different viewpoints on a lot of different things. You'll see the members here being very cordial and with each other. In the audience, I expect the same thing, or you will be asked to leave. Okay, Mr. Vice Chairman, is there anybody here signed in to speak?
Madam Chair, I'm
Yes.
so sorry to interrupt. Can I ask a question
Sure.
of the sponsor, please?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Madam Chair, Senator Kavanagh, I'm just curious as to who and how are you going to determine what someone's biological sex is? I'm wearing pants today, so, how do you know that what bathroom I should go into?
Sure. Madam Chair,
Please.
Representative Gutierrez, to be enrolled in a school, you have to present a birth certificate, and your biological sex at birth is on the birth certificate, so it's a clear-cut case.
Madam Chair, I'm going to have a
Please.
follow-up. Well, parents are allowed and students are allowed to petition the district to change that on, in my school, it's Synergy. So that may not match the birth certificate, and this has been done in order to allow transgender students to be called the name that they would like to be called and use the correct pronouns for them. So, and in the hallway, as a teacher, I see thousands of students every day that I don't have records to look at.
Madam Chair,
Please.
Representative Gutierrez, the changed form, which is not a birth certificate, which the school creates based upon a parent's permission, does not tell anybody what the biological sex at birth of the child was. The only document that would do that in a school would in fact be the birth certificate that was presented to the school when the child enrolled. So the school does in fact have definitive proof of biological sex at birth.
Madam Chair, one more follow-up, please.
Please.
I understand, Madam Chair, Senator Kavanagh, I understand that, but I'm saying as a teacher, I'm seeing kids go in and out of the bathroom all the time. I'm not going to go to the office and check their birth certificate in order to let them in or not let them in.
Madam Chair,
Senator.
there is no requirement whatsoever that you perform that function. However, if somebody knew that the child was, in fact, of a different biological sex at birth and was using a facility not aligned with that, they could simply report it to the school authorities who could look at the birth certificate and who could speak to that student and say, you can't do that, but you can get a reasonable accommodation, and we will provide you with either a bathroom, locker room, shower, or if it's an overnight trip, a room that you can stay in.
Thanks. Madam Chair?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have several. Madam Chair, Senator Kavanagh, can you provide evidence or of any instance where allowing a student to use the bathroom that matches their gender identity led to harm for other students?
Madam
Senator.
Chair, Representative Turek, I think I've read of some really isolated cases across the country. That's not the purpose of this bill. As I said when I opened it up, human beings have a natural sense of modesty. Particularly, I think, female human beings, where in areas of sex, that might be a little bit more compelling need to have. People get upset when they're standing next to somebody of the opposite biological sex in a public place. To me, it's unconscionable to make a 14-year-old female high school freshman stand next to an 18-year-old biological male who identifies as a female in the same shower. Do you think that's okay?
Madam Chair,
Please.
can I answer that? So is that a specific instance, Senator Kavanagh, is that a specific instance that's happened where the student was able to demonstrate harm or file a report of any kind? Do we have documented evidence of that?
Madam
Senator.
Chair, Representative Turk, you are again missing the entire point of the bill. I'm not saying that these other students that don't identify are going to attack or assault anybody. I'm not saying that at all. People have a natural sense of modesty that we need to respect. At the very least, they will avoid going into those restrooms or showers. I recall reading, when I ran my first so-called bathroom bill, which also covers showers, which opponents never want to mention, that in researching it, I read an article in Atlantic Magazine, and we're going back maybe 5-6 years, right? It was an article in Atlantic Magazine written by a very woke, liberal, Upper East Side staff writer for Atlantic Magazine, who detailed the experiences that his young daughter and her classmates had in their very exclusive Upper East Side elementary school, when the school decided to make all of the facilities for any gender. I remember one line where he said, all of the girls ran home at the end of the day to go to the bathroom because they would not use the bathrooms at all. To deny that there's modesty, to deny that you are upsetting a 14-year-old female who has to stand next to a 18-year-old biological male naked in a shower is to deny reality. And I did ask if you were okay with that. Are you?
Madam Chair.
Please.
I've still yet to be told that that's actually happened. It also seems like we have facilities in place where that modesty would be achieved through shower stalls and shower curtains, things like that. But I do have a question.
Well, Madam Chair, I have still yet to be told if you're okay with that shower scenario that I gave you. Are you okay with that?
I'm not going to answer hypotheticals.
Because you know that
Senator,
you are not okay with it.
Senator, you need to come through the chair.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna get through this with some decorum.
I apologize. It's very frustrating that when I debate this all over the place and I ask the opponents about the shower scenario, they immediately find a reason not to address it. And I think it is the most critical part of the bill.
Well, in this bill, it doesn't have enforcement of teachers. So
That's correct.
I think that we might be able to get some of these questions answered when we hear testimony opposed and for it. So I would like to get started.
I'm happy to answer that shower before we do that, if
Please, you can.
So I am a high school teacher, and my office is actually in the girls' locker room. We don't allow students to shower together ever, no matter what. So if this bill is supposed to help students showering together, that's never allowed because that is inappropriate on school grounds during school time.
Madam Chair,
Senator.
Representative, there are schools that do not have that rule. So once again, in my quest to have this question answered, if it were a shower where there were not separate curtains or facilities, are you okay with a 14-year-old female girl standing naked next to an 18-year-old biological male who identifies as female? In that scenario, are you okay with that?
That scenario, I do not think happens. So
If it-
I'm not going to answer hypothetical questions. It is hypothetical. So, thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair,
Senator.
I've gone to school longer than probably anybody in this room. I've been in the military. I go to gyms, health clubs, all right? Many of these facilities have open showers. It exists. and you can't run away and hide from it. Just like the 14-year-old naked girl can't run away and hide from the 18-year-old biological male you're forcing her to stand next to naked.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, members.
sir.
Let's move to testimony. So